welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, welcome, and if you've been here before, welcome back. You were probably saying it with me by this point because I say it in every single video. But if you're new here, welcome for real. I invite you to subscribe to the channel if this blesses you. I pray that it encourages you, that it allows you to receive something that you need from the Lord. For those of you who don't know, I'm also a mentor, a Christian mentor. So if you're looking for a mentor, you just found one, okay? So you can look at my description. I have my website in there. Everything is in there. You can do a 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, whatever you need, okay? And I would be glad to be your mentor, okay? But I just have a quick word to share with you all. And you know, I feel like we can see this theme happening in a lot of my past videos, particularly the lives. But for the past month or so, the Lord has had me really focusing. There's been a focus on the heart. And I just want to kind of encourage you all and really try to usher you into this healing that I truly believe that the Lord is doing in a lot of us. And it's this heart healing, right? It's this healing of wounds and things that are in our heart that we don't necessarily know are there, or things that have been dormant for a while that the Lord is triggering back up so that he can purify, he can cleanse. The Lord is doing so much purifying in this season. A lot of us are in the middle of a transition. We're trying to get from point A to point B. And in that moment, there's some things that we're waiting on the Lord for. There's certain clarity, revelation, next steps that we're waiting on the Lord for. A lot of us are in an in-between. We're not quite at point A where we started, but we're not quite at point B, where I had told my mentee this on our call earlier this week, where it kind of just feels like you're in thin air, like you're jumping from point A to point B, but your feet, when you're jumping from point A to point B, your feet just in the air, they're just dangling in the air. So it feels like you don't have like solid ground to stand on. And I understand this. Y'all know, if you watch any of my other videos, then it's been tea, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Okay, I myself have been going through so much cleansing. Like, y'all have no idea the level of intimacy. That's what it is. Thank you, Jesus. The Lord is calling his people into greater intimacy. Okay, because a lot of people have a surface level, very generic relationship with God. And sometimes God will use our trials to really develop a deeper intimacy with him, to really get to know him. There's, we kind of first start off our journeys with God, you know, wanting something from him, right? Like, it's like, God, I want you to do this. God, I need that. Like, you know, and we don't necessarily focus on the part where we're bearing our heart to the Lord, right? Where we're having a genuine relationship with him, where we take something to him and he gives something back. And I had shared in the last video I did how this is a time where we really, especially if you're struggling, suffering, going through a trial, in a waiting season, just if you have a heavy heart, if you're processing a lot of pain, this is a time where you almost like God initiates us in these seasons to grow in deeper intimacy with him. But it's also a time to really to exchange what it is that you're holding in your heart and leave it at his feet so that he can give you something else, right? You can leave faithlessness at his feet and he will give you faith. You can leave your sorrow, you can leave your anguish. There's an exchange that happens. There's a give and a take because we have a relationship with God, right? So it's not just let me take what I have from God. We have to give him what we have in our hearts, right? This is our obedience. We give to God through our obedience, through our worship, through our praise, through many different ways. But I feel like sometimes we neglect really giving God our pain, giving God our trauma, giving God our hurt, being honest with him, right? So if you are in a season, I'm not going to make this video long, but if you are in a tough season and you are just feeling squeezed and you feel like there's just nobody you can turn to, maybe you don't have a lot of people you can vent to, maybe you don't feel like there are a lot of people that understand you, maybe you feel really alone in this time, and trust me, I understand how you feel, but I encourage you to use this as an opportunity, because I feel that that's what God is doing. It's a call to intimacy. Essentially, like, that's how I'm sensing it. It's a call to intimacy that the Lord is doing. And for a lot of us, for some people who already have like some level of intimacy with the Lord, or have like a pretty good relationship with God, he's calling you deeper, right? He wants you to come deeper. He's calling you deeper, right? So it always gives me the visual of when they were on the boat and Jesus calls Peter out the boat, and then while Jesus is walking on water, and Peter has that faith moment, right? They're in the deep. Like, they're in the deep. They're not on the shore. They're not just, a couple feet, like maybe a mile in. Like, they're in the depth of the ocean. And then there's a moment where Peter's faith is truly tested, but it wasn't when he was near the shore, and it wasn't when he was just a little farther from the shore. It was when he was in the depth of the ocean, right? And this is like the Lord really wanting us to share with him, to reveal to him, because it's not that God doesn't already know these things, right? But it takes vulnerability on our part, and it takes courage, and it takes strength for us to reveal those things to the Lord, no matter how much even we know they're there and the Lord knows they're there, right? So in this time, I really believe that God is purifying and cleansing and restoring our hearts in many areas in our lives, but particularly in the heart, things of the heart. And especially because, hope deferred makes the heart sick. So a lot of people are heartbroken from the waiting, from the struggle, from the walk with him, right? So all of these things, God uses those, because when you leave that at his feet, he gives you hope. When you leave it at his feet, he gives you strength, right? So I want to encourage you, if you feel that the Lord is trying to bring things up that you do not want to deal with. This could be anything. This could be feelings of loneliness, feelings of rejection, feelings of abandonment, feelings of jealousy, feelings of envy, feelings of bitterness, resentment, all of these things. If the Lord is bringing these things to the surface, or he's bringing these things to your attention, this is your opportunity to really lean in and show him, reveal it to him, be honest and say, yes, Lord, I have this in my heart. Yes, Lord, I don't know what to do with this. Yes, Lord, I feel this way about them. Yes, Lord, I don't want to see this. Yes, Lord, like really, like I'm talking about like realness, okay? The things that you would never want to say to anybody else, the Lord is waiting to hear you tell him. Okay, he says that he stands at the door and he knocks and he knocks and he knocks, and he wants to come in and have a meal as friends, right? He wants you to sit with him at the table and tell him what's up. What's up? What's on your heart? It's the same way that you have a meal with a friend. Maybe you go and you meet up with a friend to talk over coffee or to talk over lunch. It's the same thing where you really are able to vent and talk about what's going on in your life. The Lord wants that with you. And so I just pray that you take this opportunity, you take this time to really lay it at his feet, right? And this is the thing, because God has really been teaching me about my emotions very heavily recently. And I feel like personally, my thing is that I have a hard time sometimes allowing myself to reveal things to the Lord or just acknowledge certain feelings, because I don't know what to do with them, right? I'm like, okay, I'm angry, but then I feel like if I acknowledge that I'm angry, then I'm be mad, like, you get what I'm saying? Or if I feel like this, like, well, then I don't know how to not act on the feeling. How do I not shut down? How do I not distance people when I feel a certain way, right? These are real things, and they keep us from expressing our emotions. But what the Lord has been revealing to me or teaching me, and that I've been developing, is this habit of just, if I even just tell him completely honestly how I feel, what I'm thinking, how, like, all of it, that in that, and knowing that the Lord hears that, wants that, desires that I can just leave it there, and that is enough. If I told God, it's like there are certain things that we repress and we don't acknowledge because we don't know how to give it to the Lord. The Bible tells us be angry, but don't sin, right? That we see countless, it's throughout the Bible that the Lord has emotions, that God has emotions. He literally, the scripture shows us that Jesus had feelings, that God even had feelings in the Old Testament, right? When it came to the Israelites and things like that. That feelings are not off limits. And I really feel like the Lord wants people to have this relationship with him where it's not just, let me put on a smile because I don't want to look like I'm a bad Christian, or, I don't want to look like this with God. And I feel like there's a level of transparency and rawness and realness that the Lord, and authenticity and vulnerability that the Lord wants us to have with him. And what the Lord is starting to teach me is that if I can just acknowledge and give him my full, authentic, true feelings, like I tell him how it is, that I can just let it go right there, knowing that I told the Lord. The problem is that we don't tell anybody. We just swallow it and we hold it in. And that is what the Lord is saying. Give it to me. Give it to me. So that is all it is. You can be angry and tell the Lord exactly how you feel. But know that once you tell him that you've given it to him, and then you leave it at his feet, right? That's what it means. We don't take it back with us. No, we leave it at his feet. We don't take it back. And the more that you start to practice this, I'm realizing this in my own life literally now, that the more that I practice just being really honest with the Lord about how I feel, that I can just leave it there. Be like, because you laid it all out. You don't have anything to take back. You were completely honest. You were completely open. And it's like, I give it to you. So I pray that this encouraged you or blessed you in any sort of way, okay, y'all? Allow the Lord to heal your heart. Forgive anybody that the Lord is bringing to your mind. Let go of the things that have happened in the past, okay? Know that all of these things are for our good, okay? The Lord needs to cleanse our heart so that we can really grow in our relationship with him, okay? And the heart is a real focus in this time. And so I just pray that you seek the Lord on whatever it is that your heart, that he wants to do in your heart, and that you allow him to do that. You're going to feel brand new after, okay? Cry it out, scream it out, shout it out, do what you got to do, but leave it at his feet, wholly, honestly, truly, and then get up and walk, okay? I love y'all. I pray that this blessed you, okay? Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you all in my next video.